I'd like to call the Jamaica Selectboard to order, January 25th. First on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the meeting of January 11th. Oops, sorry.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
On number 7, when we were talking about the proposal to increase the hours of contract with the sheriff's department, we've had no action was taken. Did you, was it your intent to contact the sheriff?
I
on
did
that?
contact the sheriff. He sent us.
Oh, no, I needed this for the minutes. Should we say that you would contact, says no action was taken?
Okay, that, we could add that I was going to contact the sheriff's department.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. How about the sheriff's office, because you didn't really talk to the sheriff himself, right?
Sheriff's department.
Good.
It was Lieutenant Anderson.
My question on number 5 is, maybe it ought to be clear on who presented that resolution. That was presented to us by a particular agency or
Oh, that was,
The Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah.
Yeah, just so we know who, we're supporting a resolution, it'd be nice to know.
no, that wasn't the
No, no,
Chamber,
no.
no, that wasn't the Chamber of Commerce. That was the,
This is the resolution
it's a
for
resolution for,
the solar.
so this,
Oh.
and so that,
This is a resolution to increase the input of Vermont municipalities regarding the siting of renewable energy projects.
Correct, but the name of the entity that was requesting our
it was a Rutland-based, it's just a group of people. I don't even know if they have a name or not. It was just a group of people that,
did they send us a letter?
I haven't received anything yet.
No, how do we get that resolution?
A fellow from Wyndham, a gentleman from Wyndham, he's on the committee, and he emailed that, and that's all he emailed to us.
So does it say who he is?
He's,
Paul, are you looking at something?
Yeah, no, there's nothing
yeah,
on that
his
sheet.
name is not it, but his name is, you would have to ask me.
It just seems that we,
Right.
it ought to be clear who presented the resolution to us.
He didn't
Maybe we
really, well, he really didn't present it. He received it from this group from Rutland. I'll have to get more, I can get more information.
I
What
think-
group it was. I did talk to him and he was gonna send some more, get me in contact with some other people, but I haven't gotten that information yet. So we can still, I can get more information on
But
that.
we can amend it to include the name that you will be able to get from.
Okay. All right, and the group, so it's a group and I believe they have a name for themselves, but I have no idea what it is at this time.
It sounds like this is sort of a grassroots-ish
Yeah,
kinds of.
some kind of lobbying group or something.
Right.
Or, yeah, that, or people trying to find out.
I mean, I can get more information.
I think we ought to know who presented us with that resolution. As part of the.
Okay, so we can
Amend the minutes to include that piece of information when we get it.
okay.
I guess I move that we accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes of the January 11th meeting are passed. Okay, number 2 is to the select board to review and approve the timesheets for the town office, listers, highway, and transfer station. Number 3, for the select board to review and sign the select board orders. Number 4, time for public concerns. Gentlemen, who wants to be first? Bob?
Okay,
Okay.
something has come to my attention, and that's the idea about putting in a garage to warehouse the equipment of the road crew.
Right, Newtown Garage.
When I heard the number that was involved, my blood went cold, and that's the reason I'm here. I want to, as I usually do with things that I'm interested in, I try to find out everything I can, so that when you have your meeting, I'll have something to add, and pretty well know where you've been and what you're planning. I went over to Winhall today, and I spoke with their road crew, and I saw the building space, and it's quite wonderful. But the number is really very high. We have a bond issue, I don't know how many years we're talking about, 20 years, 30 years?
It could be 20 or 25.
So that's,
We haven't made a decision on
let's say
that.
3%, that's $21,000 a year. That is an expense, a town expense. Am I correct? The money's not coming from anyplace else.
No.
Okay, so there's that issue, and because of what's obviously going to happen with the schools, there's going to be more money there. So I go back to my business roots. Is $750,000 the optimum number? Can it be done for less? And not knowing all the parameters of what you've spoken about yet, but just doing my own research. And I contacted several companies here in the East who do buildings like that. How do they heat them? How do they insulate them? And all of that. And you come up with a range of numbers that run somewhere between 450 and maybe close to 600,000. So that's a savings. And I don't know everything. One of these days you're going to have to get an engineer to come in, plan it out. I can read plans. I know something about construction, as does my friend who's been in business for many, many years, a manufacturer. So I'd like to participate in that. You guys can always use an extra pair of hands. So I'm suggesting, not that you have to accept it, but I'm suggesting that maybe we have a committee to help you guys plan this out.
Right now, it's the select board.
I understand.
We don't have a committee. We do have an engineer.
And who is he?
David Cotton from Newfane. And he's the one who...
What's he charging? Do you have any idea?
I don't know right now because he hasn't gotten our, we haven't committed to him yet. We're trying to, we got all our permits in line and we're hoping to get the bond, and he will, we'll be meeting with him, I think it's next week. I don't have
What's
the
he
date in
charging?
front of me.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
What's he charging?
I don't know yet.
No.
I don't know, I don't have that answer yet. We will find out
Okay.
next week when we go there, and he'll have everything for us so that we can present it to the townspeople.
Okay. So you won't have any kind of judgments before you get plans?
I don't understand what you mean.
Let me
You gotta see what
try to
that-
answer your question.
Please.
We're trying to leverage off of the Winhall building. The Winhall building has already been designed,
I saw.
and we're trying to avoid costly engineering costs. And I think Mr. Cotton has agreed to keep our engineering costs down if we use a building very similar to Winhall.
Yeah, but that's even marginal, because he's not gonna charge you.
Yeah. Well,
Someone between
that's part of the reason why we haven't done any,
$7,000 with it.
that's part of the reason we haven't done any engineering work up to now.
Okay,
Because we have a good concept of what the building would look like.
yeah.
So that's, I think, the
It's-
reason.
Really big, it's like 50 by 100.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is because right now, all of our equipment sits out. And
I spoke to Keith, and I asked him about that. I spoke to the road crew in Wyndham, their concerns. I understand the icing, and I understand that the heating coils work only to a certain extent. I really asked them what you need to keep these machines running most effectively. And they have you have to amortize that over time, I understand that. I think that is a marvelous place. I mean, I'd move in there, I'd get a 60-foot trailer, move in and, you know, I'd be very happy. The one thing that they did say up there that I found was interesting, and something that might, you know, we might talk about, is that they consider it an emergency shelter also. That they put in a bathroom, a kitchen, and like that. And one of the considerations is, as an emergency shelter, hundreds of homes go without power, you know, over periods of time. And what do you do with those people?
Right now, we have the Masonic Hall, we have the grade school, and we have,
And they have their own power.
they have their own power. The
Okay.
school has a generator, the Masonic Hall has a generator, the fire department has a generator, and between those three buildings, we can house a lot of people.
As you can tell, I'm just.
Yeah, no, that's fine, no,
I'm
you're,
just
yes,
fishing around.
you're
I'm
right.
interested.
Mhm.
I think so.
You know, possible I'd like to participate in.
Actually, I'm impressed with the homework that you.
Anything I'm interested in, I do as much homework as I can.
I
don't
think
wanna
that's
walk
great.
in,
Right, and
you
we
know,
have
just shoot my mouth off.
our road foreman has gone to the Win Hall garage a few times and checking, seeing what, if something has to be different, something that can be less. He also went to the Stratton town garage
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see what they have, and we're not gonna just,
You're not gonna die.
we're not gonna spend, $100 million on this. We're gonna try to keep it as down as we can, because we understand it's taxpayers' money. But it certainly is a needed building. If you've been in the building, I take it, if you went to see Keith, you wouldn't want to work in a building like that.
I understand. I'm not negative about this. My point of view, as a business person, is I want to get the most I can get for the least amount of money, and I'm good at it, as my friend Fred is. We can purchase because we don't give up. We just keep shopping and shopping until we get the right person who can do the job, not just anybody.
Right, well, we have a process that we have to go through. We have to put out an RFP, we have to get bids, and we have to look at them. It's, a whole process. We can't just go to each one and then pick out the cheapest one or the least expensive one. We have to follow a process that the town's policy that we go by.
And excludes shopping.
It does.
It's a sort of a shopping
Yeah.
mall. But when we go through the procurement process, we have to, by law, advertise it, take in the bids, this sort of thing. It's not like shopping, but it's clearly when we're presented with X number of bids, we choose from that
And
selection.
people who are interested
I
will send in
have
their
another
bids.
question about the land that this is on.
Mhm.
I understand it's still floodplain?
No.
It's
Well-
not.
Yes, I can
Yeah, address
be
that.
the floodplain administrator. We've done some work with that, or some research on that. The area, as you go from the brook up towards Castle Hill Road, the base flood elevation gets higher and higher and
Yes.
higher. Or the base flood elevation stays the same. The elevation of the property gets higher and higher and higher. By the time it gets to where the building is now, it's above the base flood elevation.
Okay, good.
So the building itself, and that's the reason why when we build it, we're going to have to build it perpendicular, parallel to Castle Hill Road. Because if we were to turn the building
understand.
exactly off, we would then be higher than the base flood elevation, or
Okay,
lower.
Can any extension be made on the existing building?
Well, it can't be made because, the reason we kind of ruled that out is because the way the garage doors are. If you were to, you wouldn't be able to add any more garage doors if you went wide, parallel to
I
that.
got you. Oh, I didn't
Because this new design would have all the garage doors
I got you.
facing that way. So if we were to try to have, enough room for the 6 or 7 bays, or 6 bays, I think we're looking
There's
at,
6.
you wouldn't have any.
Any comments?
No, I'm just concerned that it shouldn't be a cookie cutter kind of an approach where you have the minimum building and then you're going to build the same thing. They have, I believe, a
5 days.
5 bays, yeah, and
5 bays?
They have one on the side too.
Yeah,
So
okay,
there's
there's 6 bays.
Now, is that second building, there's Jude?
That is, but that's not part of the town garage.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
and also they have building codes in Jamaica. Do you have a building code?
No, we do not.
So there is a savings somewhere along the line where you're going to have to use that approach, although it has to be within certain safety guidelines and so forth. But my main purpose is just to get some input of what the board anticipates and to see where we can be of some help perhaps and get some additional input and what's involved. Not that we want to interfere with your process, okay, don't misunderstand me.
No, that is
You have to go through the guidelines of bidding process and so forth. That's not where we come in. I just want to know what's going on, whether it's absolutely necessary, can we be of any help? And
I really appreciate you guys coming, and I wish more people would do that, because this is a project of the town.
Yeah.
It's not a project of the select board or of Lexa
Yeah, we
or
understand
Lou.
that.
The fact is that the more questions are asked and the more exploration, it's better that the townspeople begin to explore exactly what this is. And from a behavioral standpoint, which of course you know is my business, is that when people get involved in a situation like you have maybe the idea of setting up a committee or having townspeople on the committee, what really happens is, and it's the behavioral part of who we are, is that we then have ownership of what is going on. And my fear right now is that people are not really aware of all of the stuff that you guys have talked about tonight. And it's kind of like floating out there. And I get a lot of questions, and I'm sure other board people are too. And so for the two of you to come and say, okay, I did some homework and I have concerns, to me, that's wonderful. You know, where our democracy is, it's for the people, by the people, and we've got to do that. And so the more that you're involved, the more ownership the town will have in this new building, because we do need something. So I think this is great, and I hope you go tell your friends to ask us as much as you want to, and try to get some plans. I know you and I have talked about preliminary
And
plans.
that's what we're gonna get.
Yeah, so
when
that
we
people
meet.
like these people here can sit down and look, because we have, in our community, I believe, we have some of the best minds, business people who have done these kinds of things before, and just people's curiosity. And as I said, that develops ownership. So, and I think that's an important piece. And I think my colleague next to me, who's in the same business, would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Ownership is when you know a lot about it and you participate.
Okay.
Right,
So,
thank you.
I'm sorry.
By the way, thank you all you guys, you're in the trenches, and don't think it's not appreciated.
Would you put
Because
your
it is.
telephone numbers on
Yeah,
there,
sure.
so when
No,
we
I
have,
will.
when we have meetings, we can
Yeah.
call you, and if you want
Right,
to
sure.
come here, because they're public meetings that we'll have discussing this.
Okay, and keep in mind, if there's any scut work you want me to call a company, you want me to knock on a door, I will do that.
Yeah, we can, you know, if we can
And I'll
have
be
your
able,
number,
you know, I'll
and
be
then
able
we
to
can,
provide you with more information.
That's
is there any interest in prefab buildings of that
Well,
nature?
Well, that's some of the stuff I was
The
looking for.
prefab is, I think we've kind of ruled out a metal building.
right,
So I don't know what you can do prefab in that, at that size with a wood frame construction.
Well, what, if you're not gonna have a metal building, what are you gonna have?
it's gonna be a wood
Dome?
frame,
No, it's gonna be a wood
Wood
frame.
frame.
Right.
Oh, it's a
Wood
wood
frame,
frame, okay,
right.
all right. Because they have these massive things, this one company has a dome that goes on.
What we run into is those don't work as well in the winter environments as they look
Well,
south.
the salesperson said the way they have it insulated,
Yeah,
now, I don't know. He's a salesman, you know. so-
exactly. We looked at, where were we at the sets last time I think I was in the accountants, I think, or, I can't remember, I've seen so many. And you could see where the moisture had come down and blotted out the insulation along the bottom, because it just literally rains
Yeah.
humidity. those kind of things. So there's a lot of environmental issues.
Okay, guys, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Now,
Did
you
you
know,
want
of
to
course,
say-
what
No.
our hearing is.
I just, yeah,
Because
is there
it's
any kind of a schedule at this point to have a big informational
Yes,
meeting?
on February
But it's
23rd.
about the 23rd,
Okay.
or 24th, somewhere in that area.
23rd.
Okay, well,
23rd?
23rd is gonna be a
You sure you
Saturday.
covered that?
4
I
o'clock
will, I plan
at
on
the
it.
town garage.
That's only 6 days
And then
before
here.
the election though.
The vote.
So I wonder if we should
We're
have
gonna
it
have,
even
we're gonna
sooner.
have,
Well, it depends on you.
in the newspaper, Chris Mays is gonna put in an
Yeah.
article for us.
He's
I've
actually
got
got
one
a
written
basic
up
sketch
so that
already
he
done.
can put it in, and
He's just
Karen was
going
gonna put it on
I understand what
the
you're saying.
Jamaica
If you've done
website.
this, you can use that, it's less expensive.
23rd, is it?
Even the.
23rd?
23rd, another
For-
pair of eyes.
At 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock is the meeting
Yeah, as soon as we kinda get
That'll be back in.
back here.
here.
Here, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I'm gonna go watch Shorty and Hillary at it.
Oh, is that tonight?
You're not on until 9.
Okay, guys, good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you
Good
very
night.
much.
Good night.
You said 4:30 or 4?
4.
4 o'clock?
4 at the town garage.
Okay.
We'll probably stay there for that, most of that hour,
And
and
then,
then come back here.
and then come
What
back.
date, you say
23rd,
23rd?
February, which is,
Yeah, and, you know,
Tuesday.
pass it around. I think people, the more people, I'm really into having townspeople a part of this whole thing.
right, and
This
I'm
is
hoping
a
that they will
major
come to the,
investment.
and I hope they will come to the town garage and look at it and see
Yeah.
what it looks like. Okay,
I started to say something and you got tired of something else. I'd like to correct the statement that it's a warehouse for our equipment. It's a workspace for our employees. It's not
Right,
just
it's
a
not
warehouse
just
for the
a-
equipment.
Right, they have
They
to,
have to work in there, their maintenance of the equipment.
right, their office should be there.
Yeah, that's what they
Office is
park,
there
at
where
night. It's
they-
not just a
Their
warehouse.
lunch out room and stuff
There
like
we go,
that. Before we started, I forgot to ask, there's 3 things that came in today that weren't on the agenda. If it's okay with you folks, and then we'll do them last. One, received a letter from Jeff Buffum regarding Old Home Day. The next one is, we have 2 liquor licenses. This will be another liquor license for Rossingville Marketplace, and another overweight permit from Barris Trucking. And I'll just put those on, if nobody has a problem putting those on, okay. Next is, we had two contracts, I believe, Ralph, for the townwide
Yeah, for the
Townwide
RFP, right.
appraisal. And I take it you've gone through them.
Lou's been doing most of the legwork and, but being he's not an official lister, I'll just throw out my, we've got 2 very fine proposals, probably equally could do the job, no problem at all. One's a kind of a smaller, firm than the other one, but, with the list of towns that they are either have done or involved with right now, there's very little question that they won't be able to, do this job and do it quite well. So, I'll just say that we met this last week and Barbara and I and with Lou have come up with a decision, and I'll let Lou handle that, but I do back that decision. I think it's gonna be real good, and we're setting a timetable so that it'll probably start this summer with data collection and finish with the final thing in 18. So it gives us plenty of time to do the job, do it right, and probably, I would think with the way things are compared to what it was when we put the last one out, the market was sky high. By the time we got the reappraisal done, the market was in the tank, and the land prices are out of kilter, and then of course the house market went to hell, and so I think we'll be in a much more stable environment unless there's something on the horizon that we don't see. So it should come out with a much fairer, more equitable reappraisal this time than we certainly came out last time. It's amazing that we've gotten through the last few years with as little. We changed, it's a little controversies we've had. We did drop the condos tremendously because we laughed. The condos and 70 chalets and A-frames are absolutely drugs on the market. They just, I say it, and the nice thing about that is that I do think there's some young people that are benefiting from picking up a little chalet or an A-frame for maybe somewhere around 100,000. It's cheaper. You can either rent or build by any means, and then they can maybe fix the place up. And we're seeing some of that in our town, and we've got a pretty good share of them with the Mountain Acres and some of the surrounding things. And I do think that, but they certainly are not going for anywhere near what we had them on the market for a few years ago. Just people aren't interested in that type of thing on the regular buyer's market. But okay, turn it over to Lou.
Okay. If you have your proposals from last week with you, why don't you open them to the, on the NIMRIC proposal, page 13, and on the NEMC proposal on page, I have to put my glasses on, read it, page 3. NEMRIC, this first proposal I mentioned, NEMRIC, that's the company who we currently use in the town offices for both our listers, for the lister program, the grand list program. We use it for general ledger. We use it for dog licenses. We use it for all kinds of purposes.
They have special software, don't they?
Well, NEMRIC is a special software that is very much customized to Vermont, to the uniqueness of our laws. NEMRIC has two components that the listers use. One component is the grand list portion. The second component is the CAMA portion. CAMA is an acronym which doesn't necessarily describe a product, it describes a philosophy or a way of doing things.
I'm sorry, which one are you looking at?
Okay, we're looking at the moment, NEMRIC proposal on page
This one.
13,
Okay.
and the NEMC proposal on page 3.
Oh, okay.
The NEMRIC is a larger company than the other proposal, and they have, I think, when I talked with him, he said they've got about 15 people who they have out in the field doing these kinds of things. When we talked to the NEMC people, they described to us their approach. They're a much smaller company. They've got one principal and 2 people who are out in the field. So you can see that they're a smaller company. However, both of them, when they described the process of the reappraisal, they almost were identical. After we heard one person talk, and he went through how the reappraisal would go, and then as the other person gave his spiel on how he would do it, we just kept looking at each other and saying, exactly the same. So both companies, as Ralph mentioned, seem to be very well qualified. They really seem to know the market. When we talk to them, they really know the commercial market, which is something that we don't know a whole lot about here in Jamaica. So we kind of depend on somebody to be able to help us with the commercial piece. So if you look at the proposed cost on the NIMRIC one, their proposed cost for the total one was $135,000, and the NEMC was $142,400. So basically, they're about the same, within about $7,000 of each other.
Is that annual support?
We'll get to that in a
addition?
minute. We'll get to that in a minute.
Gotcha.
So the reappraisal piece are those two numbers. NEMRIC would use the same software that they currently use for their CAMA program. It's a program that was put together by the state, and it actually put together by a company called Microsol, and they work with the state, and that is the actual costing program. But it works hand in hand with the Grand List program. NEMC doesn't use the state CAMA system. They use a CAMA system by a company called Patriot Systems. And that's the difference between these two proposals. The Nemrick software is old, it's archaic, it's based off of a database called FoxPro. I don't know if you've ever heard of FoxPro, but it's an old Microsoft system, or it's a really old database. Nobody uses that anymore. When you play around with CAMA, inside of CAMA, you can tell the touch and feel of it, and Ralph can probably, he's been playing around with it a lot longer than I have. The touch and feel of the CAMA software is just old. When we saw the demonstration by the NEMC folks, number one, it's a much more modern architecture. It's built on with using Microsoft SQL Server, which is a modern day SQL-oriented database. The screens are a lot easier to use. There's a lot more flexibility in what they can do. For example, right now we assign an estimated depreciation to a particular piece of property. We might look at a piece that was built maybe 40 years ago, and we know it's been renovated a little bit, so we give it an estimated depreciation maybe 20 years. So we say it's about a 20-year-old building based on how well they've kept it up. Well, this new software says you can estimate different parts of the building. You can say, oh, they got a brand new kitchen. That's a 5-year-old kitchen. But you haven't done anything in your bedrooms. So your bedrooms are 20-year-old bedrooms. So you can, there's more flexibility in the software, so you can do a better job of analyzing the particular building. And what we've concluded is that, well, first of all, what Judy was just asking about, the annual support license fee, that's because we would be using a new set of software for that. If we went with this proposal, that would be the Patriot. Now, we are currently, as part of our bill with Nemrick, we're paying $240. So the difference.
$240 a year?
A year. This is an annual fee. Now, when the NEMC guy came in and gave his proposal, or talked about his proposal, he immediately said that he's pretty sure he can get the Patriot people to lower that annual support license to $1,200 a year. So basically what we're looking at is a difference on the annual subscription of about $960, one from the other. So our recommendation is that it's worth the extra $960 per year would be an annual fee for that license. So we're recommending that we go with the NEMC. It's a smaller company. I was a little concerned about the small company. So I asked him, the particular gentleman that gave the demonstration was about my age. I'm not going to say old. He was about my age.
More like me.
But I said to him, because it's a concern, if you're the principal of the company and you're not going to, you may be retiring or you may get sick, those of us at my age worry about those things. And I said, what's the fallback position? And he said, number one, the two people who work for him, one of them is his son. His son, he said, will be eventually taking over the business. And from the Patriot perspective, they have support from the software perspective. So.
Is their time frame about the same?
Exact.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost exact. They're both going to start at the end of the summer. Both of them would be finished doing their actual field work by the end of 2017, and then they have the work ready for March 31st or April 1st, and to send out, I guess, the initial letters for the change of appraisal. And they both will stay with us during the grievance process. They actually have a pre-grievance hearing where anybody who wants to talk to the appraisers can come and talk to the appraisers. Then the actual lister process would be with the listers, the grievances would be the listers, and then they actually stay with the listers during the DCA work. So they stay with us up until BCA time. And there's actually a penalty, both of them understand that there's a penalty clause in it, and If they're late, it's $500 a day after June 1st, I think is and the reason for June 1st is because there's a statutory requirement that we get all of our work done by, what is it, June 4th?
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
June
that.
4th.
Yeah.
And I asked him, well, what happens, $500 a day doesn't mean anything if we're going to be in trouble with the state because we're late. And he said, well, you can petition the state and they'll pretty much grant you an extension if you need to.
Yeah, and he also mentioned, he said, I've never finished one up late yet, he said. And so,
And both of them actually said that, yep.
the one thing he didn't mention was that it looks like I think we've got a fairly decent sketching program with what we're doing, but it looks like this one that we'll be going with will even be a better sketching program, and it's, that's where it's not, right now, it's not the program so much as the people that we haven't had enough use to use that. You go out and measure a house and bring it back, and the listers need to get hands-on and learn this, but if we can get either 2 or 3 of us so that we're comfortable with that, the sketching is a great feature because it, you plug in a few numbers and pretty quick the sketch comes up and it closes you get part way around, it closes it for you, and then, it's pretty.
It's a pretty impressive program. There are some intangible things that are part of this software. One of them is that since it's a Microsoft SQL-based product, we have to have Microsoft SQL Server on our machine, and that would give us a 5-user license for Microsoft SQL Server. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we can only use them for that particular project. We can use them for any SQL application we have, one of which we're hoping to put online pretty soon, the vital records for the town clerk, so she can be working with vital records online rather than through the index cards. And so the SQL Server licenses would be usable for other reasons within. The dump program, for example, sits on its own machine because it can't interface with anything else. That would be available to use with this. So there are some side benefits to it, but they aren't really the main benefits.
What's the cost of that?
Well, the SQL license comes with the software.
And the cost of that?
That's part of the $1,200 a year. The
12 for the NEMC.
NEMC, correct. Right, we don't get that benefit if we stay with the NIMRIC software. NIMRIC has their own backup procedures, and none of us know anything about FoxPro, so we can't, I happen to be an SQL Server expert, so I'm familiar with that environment. I've had a chance to talk to a couple of different towns who are using it, both of which are going through reappraisals now, and both of which this is their second for 1 and 3rd reappraisal with this company. So number one, they're happy with it, and they wouldn't go back to it if they had a bad experience the first time.
Which one is Newfane using?
They're using NEMC. They're using.
Okay, because that, I was wondering.
Yeah.
When I saw it.
I know Doris in Newfane pretty well. She served with me in Wyndham Solid Waste District, and she raves about. In fact, it turns out that the reason this company even started was because they put in a bid for Newfane. They were the only bidder for Newfane in 2002, and they went with them, and they were extremely happy with them. So.
It's nice to get that kind of feedback too.
Yep, and there's another intangible is their reports are a lot more potentially sophisticated. And the reason I say that is because we have mapping software that uses ArcGIS. Well, they use ArcGIS in their reporting too. So there's a synergy between this project, this software, and the mapping software that we use as well. So it's an additional almost $1,000 a year, but I think it's well worth it from what we've been able to detect.
On top of the cost.
Right. This is an annual fee we would be paying every year.
What was the other annual fee?
Well, the other one was $240. We're paying the NEMRIC right now.
And that'll be the annual fee even after they get through all the...
Correct. Right.
It's a continued annual.
It will be continued annual fee as long as we use them.
And we'll continue with paying the $240 for NEMRIC because we use it for all the other.
No. That's the NEMRIC camera.
Oh, okay, that's the fee for the camera.
That's the
What are we
camera.
paying NEMRIC right now?
I don't know how much that is, Terry would know that.
Yeah, because we're gonna, that'll continue because we still have to use NEMR for the grants.
One of the other intangibles is that right now we have to go back and forth between the Grand List program and the CAMA software. Well, people don't have to use the Grand List program when you have this Patriot system. All of your work is done in Patriot, and you press a button and it puts it back into the NEMR system, but you never have to look at it. So what would happen is the Grand List program would then really only be used by the town clerk after everything is done. The listers wouldn't have to use that Grand List program, and the interaction between those two is really pretty tough.
What's the reality of getting this set up? I mean, how much is it gonna take our staff to bring the new system up to speed with the Grand List and all the other kinds of information that you'd like to have entered, which sounds really good, but right now it's not there.
Yeah,
So somebody's gotta put it in. What's that gonna take time?
that's a good question. Part of the $142,000 is a conversion process.
Yeah, so these guys.
They do the conversion.
They do.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
And what they then do is they convert it, and we'll actually be running both systems at the same time. We'll be running their system, and we'll be running the old CAMA system for 2 years during this process. And then at the end of 2 years, they turn it over to us. And during that time, of course, Barbara and Ralph and whomever the next lister would be, would get trained in that software. So when that happened, they would already be trained. And what they encourage, both of them encouraged that the listers be part of the process of going out there and doing some of the reappraisals. So they get familiar with the software, they get familiar with the process, they feel comfortable with it. So they would go on some of these visits with the two appraisers. There would be two appraisers doing this. There is one thing that both of them would require, and that is that either a lister or the town clerk schedule appointments. The way the appointments work is they send out a letter to a neighborhood. You might have, I don't know, 6 or 7 neighborhoods in Jamaica they would identify. So cards would go out to those neighborhoods, and that would say that within the next 30 days, there'll be somebody coming to appraise your property. If you don't want us to come out and appraise the property, then call and let us know, because we don't have the unilateral right to go on anybody's property. But if nobody, if they don't send in something, then these people will go to all the homes in that neighborhood during that 30-day process. If somebody was not home, they would leave a card in their door, and the card would say, call the town offices and schedule an appointment. So then we would schedule an appointment for these people. The appointment can be during the week, or it can be on a specified weekend, on a Saturday. What they will try to do is they'll spend one Saturday in a neighborhood. So anybody who can't do their appointment during the week could schedule a Saturday appointment for that neighborhood.
So what are the consequences of someone saying, I don't want them to come and do my house?
The consequences are that, number one, they would have to use the previous sketches and information that we've identified as being part of that parcel, and then they have to estimate. And typically what happens is they estimate higher. What the listers, what they said is, I was kind of wondering that people who had high-end homes wouldn't want people to come in because they think that they might be evaluated too often. It tends to be the opposite. It tends to be the low-end homes, they said. People who are embarrassed to have people come into their homes. So that kind of shocked me. It kind of surprised me.
There's something here, when you were talking about sending the cards and et cetera, it says here, failure to respond to this last notice, which is the letter, shall be considered non-responsive and name inspection responsibilities completed. So what happens if after that, and they still don't, does that mean the listers go out now and do that?
Yeah, and I mean, we every once in a while have somebody that just says they don't want us in their house and there is one solution to that. You just add say 100 or 200,000 to the appraisal, and you'll probably get a response after a while that maybe they will decide to let you at the house. But we really haven't gone to that much, but I've always said that usually would probably get a response if, well, we can't really see your house, so we're just expecting that you put in all granite countertops and that you did this and this and this, and then I think that most people would probably come in and say, well, I didn't do that, and if they say that, well, we'll be out and check that, but that hasn't happened
Not
very much.
Yeah, that's a good point. And we asked them what their rate, their percentages were, and they generally run about 70 to 75% of people that will let people in the house, and the other 30%. In towns like ours, which we have a high second home rate, a lot of times there's nobody around to let somebody in to a second home.
That's a problem, then, isn't
It is tough, and we'll just have to work with, if it becomes that the only way you can see these people is on a Saturday or something, it sounds like that they probably would work, and one of our solicitors probably could work to work on a Saturday morning or something like that to pick up some of those.
Is there anything else, Ralph, that you can think of?
Anybody have anything else?
I guess the question I'm having about this is the idea of, as you said, the NEMRIC software is old, but it's stable. So the Patriot software is new, and not quite as tested.
Actually, it's not new. It's been out there for not long. The Patriot software has been used by this company since 2002, but it's been out there a lot longer. It's actually been used mostly in Massachusetts.
Quite a lot of towns that have used,
Yeah.
using that.
In Vermont, they've got about, I think he said about 20 towns are using NEMRIC. I mean, are using the Patriot software.
I don't want to sound like I'm against getting upgraded, but my brain is trying to put all this together. We just spent all the money on computers. Will our hardware support running two separate programs
Yeah.
for any length of time?
Yeah.
So we're not going to need to get any more hardware. And we will still be needing NEMRIC for Terry and other stuff that they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Remember, there's NEMRIC and there's CAMA.
Yeah.
It's the CAMA we're talking about replacing. NEMRIC won't change.
They'll be the same.
Do you need a motion?
We do.
I move that we, for our upcoming,
Reappraisal?
Reappraisal, use the New England Municipal Consultants Group as our professionals for doing the work that's needed.
Do we have a second?
Reappraisal. Do you need a number in that?
We should have the amount.
Okay, so that is
Page 3.
142,200 with, which number should I go with?
You don't have to worry about the annual license, because that's a separate issue.
At $142,200.
Okay, do we have a second? No seconds?
Get some discussion, but we can't bring it up until you get a second.
I'll second it then.
To go for, I was going to say, I'll second to move to the discussion.
Any further discussion?
Yes. What pot of money is this going to come out of?
Good question. There's a reserve account out there for reappraisal that's got, I think, $125,000 in it.
Right.
So it's an account we've been building up.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the state contributes to that too. Is that true?
Yeah, we get money every year, put into an account for that, and then I'm not sure if the town has also added to that every year. I'd have to look, but I think so. So it's kind of an ongoing thing. We know that reappraisals aren't going to go away, so it continues to. And so with that fund that we have built up, plus this upcoming, well, we've got really 2 years from right now before we'll ever pay them the final, so it looks like we're in good shape financially.
So we got 120 plus there, and then we've got 2 years to build up the other
Right.
20,000.
Well, we've already got you know, we're already almost, well, halfway through this year where there's money in this year's budget
Yeah.
to contribute to it, and there's money in next year's budget to contribute to it. So I think between all of that plus whatever else we'll be getting from the state.
So shouldn't have to raise any additional tax.
That was my concern. We, doesn't sound like we're actually committing an extra $142,000 from nowhere.
No,
We've got
We
a
have
fund that it was ready to go for that.
It's something that happens all the time. So you
And
have to
actually,
say,
we're kind of late doing this. We've been kind of we're working hard at keeping the COD down so we don't get forced into it. We finally get forced into it. But we were thinking of doing it anyways.
And we were prepared to do it anyways.
Yeah, I think Ralph was noticing a huge discrepancy in the land prices. That's what kind of triggered all this.
anything further?
No.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion's been passed to go with the townwide appraisal with New England Municipal Consultants.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you very much, Rob.
And thank you,
Blue. And I didn't understand one word you said about all the computers.
And neither do I.
See, the nice
But
thing
it
about-
sounded good.
the nice
I was
thing about
impressed.
the expert is that no one's gonna question
Well, if you remember, when we bought that new server,
it. Yeah,
we kept that old server upstairs. That can go away now.
okay.
Because when we have these 5 licenses, we'll be able to.
And the hard work to manage all this stuff.
Pardon me?
Hard work, it's got to, we don't have to go.
We're
to the cloud.
we're barely using the capacity of that machine right now.
Do we need to go to the cloud or we use it local?
It's all local.
And back up.
We back it up.
Okay, number 6. We have the contract from the Wyndham County Sheriff's Department with their additional hours. If you want to look through that, Andy did, I'll pass that around. They will be basically doing what they've always done. I think that was 70-something hours
More hours.
for patrolling and 7 hours for completing everybody needs service. Thank you, Ralph.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
We'll receive the same service, but just more hours. The contract is the same as last year, word for word, except for the hours.
Did it get increased to 80?
80
as
hours,
you,
yeah, and it'll be,
talked about last time?
right, and it's right there, 70-something hours.
That tells exactly what they'll be doing on the second page.
So we're committing to this for a whole year, or is
For
it
1
possible
year.
to, like if we found out that at the end of 3 or 4 or 5 months.
It'll be a year.
Full
it's a
year,
year
we're committing to it
contract.
for a year.
Mhm.
You got 60 days to get out of it if you don't like it.
Oh, we do?
I think that's what
I
it
think
says.
that's what, is that what it says on the second page?
60 days from the date it starts.
Might be on the last second page. It's gonna be on the second page.
Yeah, it's the back side of that first page.
I'm reading, suddenly it looked like it made a lot of
Back
sense.
in front one too.
Oh, there's more over there, I didn't read that part.
So this would cost us 43,000,
Yes, less,
290?
yes, less the funds that are brought in for traffic fines. So it probably should be maybe half or more. Less rather.
We have about 18,000, was it, last year on
Mm.
fines?
Right, it was a $25,000 contract and we received about $18,000 in
Yeah.
fines.
That's a lot.
So it's better than half.
Right, it's better than half, and I
So
imagine the
with
same thing
with
will
an
be,
increased number
we should
of
get,
hours.
right, we'll get more money too.
Right, if it's linear, which we hope it would be.
Yeah.
And then they save some time for service calls. which would be like Old Home Day, things like that. Or if we wanted them to check something for us, we could use some of that time for that. If somebody called us and had, a question that we wanted them to take care of.
Another thing I think that's helpful is that they'll assist the animal control officer. I
Yeah.
didn't know they did that,
They do, yes,
Yeah.
That's good.
because nobody wants to deal with that.
right. No, they do assist with that.
Like, for example, let's say we found that we had a problem on a Saturday.
On the what?
On Saturday morning.
Mhm.
Are they willing to come in on non-weekdays, to deal with maybe we have problems Saturdays during ski season on Pikes Falls Road. Would they be willing to, come in and patrol on a Saturday if they needed to?
I don't know, I can ask.
I'm just curious how flexible they are.
Because they
They're
schedule, they have their schedules for the week,
Yes.
and if they're not scheduled on that day, they probably wouldn't, but that's a question.
I mean, we don't have to say, we just have to be somewhat general and say, we'd like you to come up on one particular, pick a Saturday, during the ski season or something.
Usually they're here on weekends,
Are they?
anyway, yeah, usually that's weekends,
And you could
and
say,
they're busy times.
we want to patrol Pikes Falls Road
If we want to
periodically.
change, right, if we
or-
want to change their schedule, we could call them and say, okay, we feel the traffic is a lot more on Wednesdays. Would you come Wednesdays and kind of work in that? They will do that, but they'll have to work around their schedule.
Mhm.
But we could just can't call them up and say, will you come up?
No, I understand
Yes, that part,
But
but they
just
will.
let them know when we think our trouble times are.
Right, like sometimes in the morning, near the grade school, cars going
Yeah.
fast. I can say, could you send somebody up early in the morning? And they will do that, yes, they will.
Or if we were to say, let's say that Friday nights, we have a problem with,
Right.
all the commuters coming through town.
Right, they
They're
will.
here, they're usually here
Yeah.
they
Right.
float around from town to town.
On Fridays.
They were here
Yeah.
last Friday.
Yeah, weekends are usually a busy time for them.
But I think if we had a problem spot or asked them, could you do this or that?
And they
I'm
will.
sure
They will.
Especially with a bigger contract.
Yeah. They're very flexible and they're very good to work with.
Would you all feel comfortable?
I read it over.
Good. Then I guess I'll move that we approve the contract.
There's a number on here for $43,290 per man.
I'll move that number.
Did you get that number, Ed?
No, I didn't.
will give it to you.
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion?
Oh, one piece, it says we should designate a member of the select board, I
Which
presuming.
we do that at the, at our organizational meetings, and I was that. We did it
Which
already
organization meeting?
in March,
Right after.
right after town meeting.
First meeting
Our
after
first
town
meeting.
Oh,
after
yeah,
town
yeah,
meeting.
I just wondering if we needed to redo that.
Not now.
No, at that is.
No.
Gotcha.
Right.
So you were planning to stick Lexa with that.
I just,
That's okay. Anything further?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none. The motion's been passed to sign the contract for the sheriff's department for the additional hours and cost. Okay, number 7, we have overweight permits. We have one from Newport Sand and Gravel Incorporated, Carroll Concrete Company, that's one company, and Barrett Trucking. And
Are you still the acting road commissioner?
still acting.
he's still road commissioner.
Still active.
Yeah, I'm still acting. Well, I tried, but
How long are you planning to act?
I guess until my license runs out. Who's the other person? This is Newport Gravel, who's the other group? Barrett Trucking.
Barrett Trucking.
see they paid a fee. Is that, or is
No,
that
that's.
the license?
I'm just looking at
Barrett?
license.
Barrett.
Oh, Barrett.
I will check with,
Do we ask them for a $10 fee or?
yes, let me check with Pam tomorrow.
Yeah, this is liability insurance with additional check attached.
And this is with the usual conditions?
Correct.
What's that whole?
Yeah, this one has the restrictions typed in, this one does not.
We usually stamp them in, and then
Yeah,
before we
you
send it
get
back,
those.
yeah.
So this is the new one, the one from Barrett.
You can take care of that tomorrow, you're gonna be here tomorrow.
We don't need to vote on that, do we?
I don't think so.
No, we just pass them through so that we,
We've already voted on the restrictions,
Right.
now we just have to tell them what the restrictions are.
right, so will you check
Okay.
with Pam, have her
Mhm.
put that sticker on for that, and
Yep.
make sure that the money came in?
Yeah, these forms are just a tad different.
Yeah, some of them are,
Yeah.
but they,
Yeah, y'all will look at it, I'll go ahead and follow up on this tomorrow.
okay, so we need the restrictions on one and the fees. And if the fee hasn't come in, then Pam can notify them, when she sends it back, that the
One's
fee is
heavier
due.
than the other, Barrett's heavier than the other. 69,000. And 90,000, 99,000, oh, there's something.
Is that Carroll Concrete, the one?
No, that's the Barrett. Carroll is 60, 69, 80, 99. This one's
Yeah, the
180.
big
Yeah, this is a heavier.
Yeah. Tractor trailer, 6 axles, 1, 2, 3, equipment, 108.
Yeah, and this is 3, 4, 5, and
6
6.
axles, yeah.
It's 4, 5, 6, and 6.
This one, yeah, I'll look into that tomorrow. I think that they're, except for wooden bridges, which they can't go over anyway, they should be fine.
Yeah, I wonder if we should put something on our sticker that says something very specific about that state park bridge. That seems to be the one that people,
Well, yeah, it's still a wooden deck, so it's covered, it's just that.
it's just that they tend not to,
Well, they have in the past. I haven't heard many complaints lately,
No,
since we,
I've seen like log trucks coming over, but they're real.
they're doing
They
it.
have like 2 logs on.
Yeah, they're doing it a piece at a time. And I know when they were taking the dirt out for the Jamaica State Park, work, they came out like loads and went
Right.
back, multiple loads
Well, that's
of half a trailer. So they've been very cooperative. After it was explained to them what needed to be done, so.
okay, next, we have 3 liquor license. One from Blue Dot Beverage, doing business as Melman's Craft Drafts, and one from Karen Amadon, doing business as D&K Grocery, and the third one is the Rossonville Marketplace Ltd. doing business as Rossonville Marketplace. These are the 2016 liquor license renewal application, second-class liquor license with the proper fees.
is Blue Dot a new one, or is it a?
No, that's
No,
that's Melman's.
That's Bowman's.
Oh, I thought that was.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that out either.
But you had the third one, you said.
Yes, Rossonville Marketplace.
Oh, that's the one I was asking if that was a new one.
It's not, it's,
And
no, they had it last
Either
year.
side.
Yeah.
So there's no new ones.
No, there's no new ones, it's
And we've had no
D&Ks.
complaints about either, any of them.
Any 3, no.
No raucous behavior or.
Is Pat's,
Then I move that we approve all 3 liquor
Second
licenses.
class,
okay.
yeah.
I'll second it.
Who was the third one?
Rawson.
Rossonville Marketplace.
Market.
What is the official name of it? Rossville Marketplace is the right
Rossonville
name?
Marketplace.
Or is it Will or?
No, Rossonville Marketplace.
Okay.
Okay.
I moved, I don't know if you heard
Motion.
that, I moved that we approve all 3 liquor licenses.
Yeah, and I second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll just have to sign those. Next, before we get to the town hall, I'd like to just do this one so we can
Sure.
kind of go over. This was, we received, I'm gonna read it. Missy and her husband couldn't be here today. So they sent this letter. They said to Pam, they've decided to do the Old Home Day again. I am writing to inform you that a committee has been formed to organize the annual festivities of Jamaica Old Home Day. The event has been scheduled for July 16th, which is a week before.
Yeah, they
They
had to
usually
do
do
that because of some conflict, I forget.
Oh,
I
okay.
heard about that.
Okay, I didn't talk to Missy, I wasn't here. The committee is formally requesting that the town of Jamaica donate $2,500, as in the past, to help with organizational expenses. We also ask that the town of Jamaica request that the event be insured under its current municipal insurance policy, which we usually do anyway. We also request that the select board contact the Wyndham County Sheriff's Department and arrange for coverage for the event for public safety and to provide, well, she put 2 uniform, but well, that's up to them,
Right.
what they want to get during the parade, and as well as a no parking sign for the village. If you have any questions, please contact Jeff or Missy Buffum. We thought when we were doing our budget that there wasn't going to be an old home day, because nobody has come to it. I think it's a good thing for the town. We can ask them for their financial. I can contact Missy, have the office contact Missy and just have her send, I think Bob Johnson is still going to be the treasurer, so he could give us, their financial, what they have, just so that we have it if somebody asks.
I know a little bit about some of their plans, or at least things that are being talked about. And that is, they're considering shortening.
Oh, that's right, shortening the day,
Is
that's
that a
right.
word? Shortening it in time, rather than having it stretch out from
Have the
10
parade
to-
earlier or
yes.
something?
The parade they're thinking of is having it at noontime with the barbecue right after around 1 o'clock-ish.
Mhm.
So that they're kind of closing it because they've discovered that it drags on and a lot of people leave.
Go home.
Yeah, so
That'd be a good
it
move.
sounds like a
Mhm.
good idea.
So we need a motion to put that, to add that into our budget.
We haven't finished the budget, right?
Terry's working on it, she's on the revenues
close,
right
but
now, we
we're
should be,
Is there another meeting?
no. Well, there'll be one more meeting when she gets all the figures all
Okay.
done and whatnot, and she'll come in and look at it and make sure it's all properly, which it'll be properly done, but, make sure that it's ready, because that's the word I want. So she's working on that, she was doing the revenue portion of it, and then when she comes back, we'll finish that up.
I would make a motion that we accept her proposal and thank both of them for their efforts on behalf of the town of Jamaica.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
I'd like you to add, to ask them to contact the Wyndham Solid Waste District. They have trash containers that they might find useful. Right now, according to the new Act 148 law, we actually have to provide, any place we offer trash, we have to also provide recycling. And so these containers are kind of designed around these kind of events.
Do they bring them here when you solid waste?
I could arrange to take them if I'm at
We
a
had
meeting.
them last year, didn't
I don't
we?
remember.
I think we did.
There was something there, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you
seeing
have their
that.
number, Wyndham, the
Yeah.
solid waste?
Let me see, I do it by pattern. 257-0272.
0272?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice.
God bless you. Okay, I'll make sure that, thank you. That,
Did we vote that?
we did, we didn't vote that, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm way ahead of myself.
Yeah, I asked, during the discussion, I added.
Okay, discussion, all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, motion's been passed. Thanks, Ed. Okay, number 9, the town hall well. Judy received some contracts.
Yes, just a little bit of some updating. Because our original bids were 2 years ago, it became important that as we were moving forward with everything, that I go back to the original people and ask if they wanted to if they needed to, I guess would be a better word, to update their bid. And two of the people did, but the third of the group of three that we sent out has not gotten back to me at all. And when I made the phone call to Frost, I said to him, because I've not had very good luck in getting a phone call answered, I said, if I don't hear from you, I'm making the assumption that you don't want to have anything, to do anything. So we actually have two bids for the well.
Would you open to red?
It looks like the bid is based on the number of feet they have to go down.
Yeah, I think so.
So the total number may change depending upon how
Yeah.
deep they have to go.
They both have said that the average in this area is 300. Is that what?
This one gives us a 225 foot.
Oh, really?
This one says estimated depth of 275, so the total may not be quite
Great.
the same.
So this one says 225 well drilling at, and then 75 feet, 6-inch casing.
Oh,
So I'm assuming the casing is in the hole, same hole,
Yeah.
as opposed to adding that to it. So that should just be overlap.
What does it say for the steel well casings on the length on your bid, Paul?
This is 75 feet.
This says estimated length of 40 feet for the casing.
This is saying 75. There's some differences here. We're gonna have to maybe compare them before we make a.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the case.
We might
Yeah,
want to put this on hold.
I would let's not.
No.
I can actually give you some information.
Okay.
Do you want to give us the bottom line?
Bottom line on the Cushing and Sons.
Okay,
First thing they said, this is the bid for the work following quantities per bid of July 13th. I guess we're using the same quantities in that bid. The total amount of bid per above quantities, $8,628. And then he says it's an estimate depending on actual encounter.
how about mine?
This is 7690. This is with a 40-foot estimated steel casing and estimated depth of 275. The well drilling, it's a $10 per foot. Is that what do you have?
This well drilling is at $12.50 per linear foot.
Okay, that's a little bit more per foot. And this is $16.50 per foot on the casing.
15 for casing.
Okay, so they're a little bit less than the casing. Do they list a pump pressure tank and water line?
Pump installation, half-ounce pump. Yeah, that comes to about $33.40.
And here it's $37.50. Grouting, that's
It's in here someplace. Yeah, 70 feet, cement grouting, 605.
and this is 400.
We need to be a little more specific.
I would like to, if you give me a chance,
Oh,
I
sure,
will
sure.
tell you what's going on.
Oh, okay.
What has happened, we have two other bids here that you may want to open.
Oh, I thought we only had these
Well, this is for the land preparation,
Oh,
okay?
two. Oh, okay.
Because that's a part of it, and that's where a major change is.
but either one of these would work with either, is one specific to one
Yes.
proposal?
Yes, but, well, the one of Raymond Smith is basically connected with mine, and I will tell you why that
And then this, the Cushings are recommending West End.
And Cushing generally works with Amity.
So the bottom line here is 3,400 for Raymond Smith.
And the bottom line from Hamilton is 73.45.
Okay, so let me explain.
Okay.
Cushing has I think, even a little bit heavier rig than what we thought, which was 45,000 pounds. I think, if I heard him correctly, I think he said it was around 75,000 pounds to get up the hill. Now, Line actually has the only rig that has four-wheel drive. And what that means is to get up the hill will take less preparation of the hill behind the town hall. It will require a little bit of gravel on the bottom, and trees coming down that we knew was going to happen. However, it will, because of the four-wheel drive, he does not need as much preparation for a road that Cushing needs. So when we had Raymond Smith's bid of 3,400 compared to Amadon at 73, that's the reason why this one is so much lower, because it is working with Line rather than
Gotcha.
Cushing. So,
Will this be done in the winter when the?
actually, they can start this week. And the issue is the ground is frozen, and it's better to do it now with the ground frozen, particularly going across the sidewalk, because it won't sink. And they have to lay out mats and things like that because of the work, the heaviness of the rig going over. And also we have a leach field to be concerned about, and that gets laid over too. And of course, the frozen ground helps that one too. So if we can get it started, we're going to be much better off. And with this crazy winter and the temperature variations that we're running into, I would really like to get it started, because if we don't get it, we can't do it in the springtime, because it will sink right in. My recommendation is that we go with Line and go with Raymond Smith. And the price, I kind of figured it out, because I had some idea what was happening. Let's see. The total would be, what would the total be if we went with Cushing?
With Cushing, it would be 86.28 plus 72.45.
Here, I have a calculator for you, I want to do it. Okay.
This would be $11,090 total for these two companies,
For those two.
for the Lind and Smith
Yeah.
combination. What kind of guarantee do we have that they aren't going to break the concrete in the sidewalks? Is there,
They're going to try their best.
are they insured in case it does crack?
Yes, they're insured, so.
Because I'm sure that those concrete's not designed to carry that kind of weight.
Yeah, well, I think we've got to just take our chance and do the best, because to not have a well and to cancel that whole thing out just because of a sidewalk, which can be replaced. The sidewalk, it's concrete, and you can pull it up and replace it. But we cannot go without a well.
Would their insurance cover this? the sidewalk if it gets
I
cracked?
don't know that answer.
I'm sure that they wouldn't want to incur that expense, and have to.
Right, and
Use their
maybe they'll use
insurance.
some kind of a matting or something.
Well, if the mat, in theory, I would think that if the mat was on top of the granite and then on top of the ground next to the sidewalk, it wouldn't put a whole lot of pressure on the concrete,
Yeah.
but I'm not,
They've had to have dealt with driveways and concrete before to access the, the site, you would think.
the concrete in general, and the sidewalk is about 5 inches thick. We typically, we put 8 inches of concrete under driveways because of the extra weight. So the 5 inch, that's part of the reason I always cringe whenever people drive on those sidewalks that aren't, because they're not designed to carry that kind of weight.
I'm also concerned about the potential damage to the septic system.
What septic system?
The leach field and.
Well, the only septic system there is Pam's, and it's way close to her house. They're not even gonna be near there.
Oh, I thought you said that.
Yeah, we'll go over the
Isn't that right?
leach
Am I right?
field.
Is-
Our
Oh,
leach
the leach field.
Right,
Ours
yeah,
or
it's
hers?
Ours.
both,
Oh,
it's
ours.
both, we share it.
Okay, so let's
Yeah, we
worry
share.
about ours.
We share the leach field, okay?
Right,
But I'm sure they're gonna put something over it.
yes, they are. They
Now,
are. Again, the frozen ground is the major issue here. So,
Right, I'm sure they don't just, I'm sure they'll be very careful on how they do it and what they do.
There's nothing in either of these that mentions it, however,
Mentions what?
protection of the. Let me back up. We got the other thing in my head about the frozen ground. We all know this is January. We just had a few cold weeks. Is the frost level low enough now? I mean,
Yes.
This is an unusual season.
according to the two well drillers,
They said
it
it's
is,
okay.
yes.
Because I'm worried that it's melting right now. It's going to 40 tomorrow or something.
Was it?
Yeah, but not for long. It's
Yeah.
No,
supposed to
they-
be
it'll go
cold
down
again.
again.
But
I
we've
guess
got
I'm just
to
wondering
get-
about it's been such a
Cold
weird.
Right, but we've got to get this done. I mean, Judy's put a lot of work into it, going back and forth, and a lot of frustration.
We have grant money, I added it up today, grant money and individual contributions of $4,445. That includes the grant from the community area, and it also includes gifts of several people. So if you subtract that from the number that you have here, and I wish I could find that, I had so many papers, but I goofed in
Well,
getting
about
that
4,400
organized.
would be about a $6,500.
Yeah,
Unless
The
they have to
cost-
go down another 300 feet.
Well,
That's
right,
just
it's all
not
dependent
fair.
on,
Yeah, I don't think they.
Well, that's just part of
right.
their job.
So it would actually, with the number of line and the excavator, Raymond, the well would cost us around $7,000 for the town because of our grant monies that we have.
I just did the math on Cushing and Hamilton, and it comes to about 11.5.
With
Minus the
subtracting.
44.50.
Oh, okay.
44.45.
okay.
Yeah, right, wait a minute.
Less than you said 44.45.
Yeah, right,
Yeah, I mean, we can
yeah.
talk till the cows come home about if we're gonna break this, if we're gonna do this. I think we just have to, it needs a
Yeah.
well,
I think we
because in the
just have
summer
to
it's
go
gonna
for
dry
broke
up again
and-
and just go for it.
I think a lot of people don't know that that runs dry in the summer. I've been
Yes,
Right.
questions about that.
yes. it does.
I agree, I'm just,
I know, I mean, we
the
are.
cost of replacing the concrete could be, in the thousands of dollars
Right.
too, so
Right.
it could be an added,
They can drive fast over it.
what?
They can drive fast,
We could ask them, I mean,
right?
I just hope that they.
Yeah, they know about it. Well,
Right.
both Steve and I have said that very directly. This is a problem, we don't want, we're gonna try our best And that's all they do.
Nothing can be guaranteed.
And the covering, yeah, so I mean.
They
you
might
just
not
have
even
to
find
know.
water. Don't say that, right? No, they will, or the land of springs, they'll find water.
Which one do we like, Paul?
It looks like the,
The Lynn Smith combination.
Okay. May we have a motion, please?
Now, yes,
You'll do it when you,
I got a question after we,
okay. You need a motion?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, so.
well, here,
We'll do it after we'll do the motion and then we'll do the,
What's the combined amount?
15,973 minus the 4450. 4445.
Yeah.
So this is what it's gonna be guaranteed this much.
With this two combination.
Yeah, there's also $150, we have a bid from that, but to connect the wiring coming down to the building has to be done by an electrician, and we got a bid last time from Clark, and that was for $150.
Should we include that in the, estimate? Okay.
It'd be on
No,
the-
this is the one that we're not
Yeah,
accepting.
right. that's-
These are the numbers for Bill. He's got the numbers for Bill.
Well, I got 11,090 minus whatever number you chose for the,
Do you wanna make a motion? Maybe have the information down there?
what was the number that, for the donations, 4450 you said?
Yeah.
4445.
I think that's it. I wrote it down, I've been so precise, and then I drew up.
Okay,
It's very close to that.
The number is 6645, why don't we cushion it and say 7,000?
okay.
All right, I'll move that we authorize, we approve the contract, we award the bid to Lindwell and Company, Lindwell Drilling Company, together with Raymond Smith Excavating, to total 11,090 minus 4445 for the estimated to be approximately $7,000.
Okay. Did you get
Second.
that?
Minus the donations.
We had a second?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion to go ahead with the well contracts. Judy will take care of all that. Thank you, Judy, again,
Huh?
for your
I hope
continued
your
work.
project goes a lot easier. For
And they have the dollar figures
$11,000
again.
bucks.
So we could
Maybe
expect
have
them
dollar
next
figures
week?
again for-
Yeah, I can
well,
call them tomorrow.
I can give you the estimate, but they're estimated numbers, so I generally said 7,000.
But that doesn't include the excavator though.
That
Yes,
includes
it is
the
everything.
does.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we
Because of
have.
that donation.
combined bids minus the donations to be
Yeah, minus the
approximately
donations.
$7,000.
And that would absorb.
I gave you the last page of the,
Electrical and.
that's just the last page, so you
Yeah.
wouldn't have to fiddle with it and
Gotcha.
get them mixed up.
Says here, run a new 240 volt circuit from main panel to the new water pressure. Actually, it doesn't have to go, it just they're gonna run the wire down, and he has to just connect it to the town hall. So I suspect this 150 is even not.
It could be less too.
Yeah,
It was
it could
just
be.
an estimate, yeah.
Right?
Who's second?
I did.
Okay, Lou,
Do I have anything?
do you have anything?
No, no.
Judy, do you have anything?
No.
Paul?
Only thing I have to report is that the Goodyville Bridge is now accepting traffic.
Oh,
It is not finished, however. It won't be until the weather breaks in the spring. We have to do some adjustments to the guardrails and pave the approaches, but it's physically open for traffic. That is the last FEMA project
Wow,
for my read.
should we stand up and cheer?
Not,
Not
wait till the
yet.
spring. Wait till the spring.
Wait till we get all our money.
Yeah, wait till we get all
We have to,
the
we're still
Oh,
waiting
that's
on money.
We are still armpit deep in paperwork, but as far as the actual physical stuff, that was
We're
it.
done. Thank you, Paul. Andrew?
Nothing.
Okay, the only thing I have here is a municipal highway grant application.
Is that from the District 2?
That is from District 2. And we also have a 2017 Vermont Better Roads Grant Program application. Lou, do you want to look? I hate to do that to you.
Yeah, I
But
don't
you're
mind.
good- but you're good at that.
The paving project, we've been talking about doing it on that first mile, 1.8 miles on Pikes Falls
Right.
Road from the Stratton line. I think we'll continue
Look at that.
to look at that. And the other thing is, last year we applied to Better Back Roads for that ditching,
Uh-huh,
and we didn't get the grant for that. I'll just reapply for that.
okay.
The Better Back Roads grant, from what I understand, has got more money in it.
Right, 175,000.
No, I'm talking about the more money to
I'm
fund
sorry,
it.
better,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
So
Oh,
more, but, you know, and the limit is, it used to be 10,000 per application, I think you can go up to 40,000 now or something like that. And the reason for that is because, just so you know, well, the reason is because the EPA has been pressuring the state to do something about phosphorus in the water, mostly around Lake Champlain, but they've got a whole new set of laws that are designed to deal with that. So this Better Back Roads grant has been increased to help towns deal with that issue.
is that with structure culvert upgrades? Is that the one?
Well, what's happening is phosphorus is coming off the fields, the farmland fields, and getting into the water. They want it properly ditched, so there's gonna be more ditching, drainage. More ditching with stone. We're gonna have to be using a lot more stone than we have. And,
Oh, God.
you know, buffer areas between the fields and the ditching. So that's the reason for that. And then coming down the road is some, it's not for a number of years away, but I think, Paul, you heard this too from the same person. We're going to be required, they're going to be monitoring or looking at every town and telling them what they have to do in order to become compliant with this new law. So it could require some more money required in order to deal with this.
Yep.
Okay, if no one has anything further, I would,
I move with adjourn.
do you have a second?
Second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 8:24.
Oh, that needs to be adjusted.